Good morning, beautiful people. For those new here, I'm Pete. Some call me Pilot Pete. Boeing 767 pilot. Bright and early, almost 6:30 in the morning, and the trip starts to deadhead to JFK. So I got a free day at home to just hang out, and now the flying starts. So we're off to JFK. As always, you want to come along? Let's go fly. It is currently freezing this morning in JFK. We got 2 legs for the day. The first one's over to Memphis and just got to the JFK ramp. Today is the first frigid day in New York City. The feels like temperature is 20 degrees. So got my winter jacket on for the first time. Actually, it's the second time all year, but this one I really need it. And today's trip started with a deadhead. So yesterday on Monday, the airline paid for my airline ticket out from my base at Memphis to JFK. We already live here. I canceled that airline ticket, banked that money, and now I had to operate the airplane from JFK to Memphis, have a couple hours there, and then Memphis to Denver is where I end up for tonight. The Memphis turn, though, I'm going to hopefully get a quick workout in and get some food, but I have a special audition for a TV show for a fun opportunity early next year. So I'll keep you guys posted on that, but hopefully we'll get out of here on time with all the craziness going on with air traffic control and the government shutdown. The last time I flew out of JFK, it took over an hour to depart. Hopefully it's going to be a lot less today. We'll see though. I mean, anyone knows with the frigid temperatures and the ATC shutdown, maybe a while. So if you're keeping up with the news at all, you might have seen that they grounded every MD-11 since that incident in Louisville. Our company flies them. That airplane has been grounded for a couple days now, and until the FAA and the NTSB release more information, that's what's going to happen. So obviously it's been a little bit of a flight schedule change, crew changes. We're only certified or type rated and approved to fly one airplane. I can only fly the 76 at my company at this appropriate time. So they're mixing in the schedule with 777s, Airbuses, 767s, whatever they can do to kind of pick up on the load. So we'll see what happens, how long that's there for. Hopefully by the time this comes out, the mandate's over. They found the root cause and they're safe to go flying again. But yeah, pretty crazy for an entire fleet of airplanes to be grounded. That means something very dangerous, catastrophic, and telling was found out by them to ground the airplanes. Hands are numb. 767's pre-flighted. Meet up with the captain, the flight deck, get some freaking warm air on me, and we'll go fly to Memphis. Hello from Memphis, Tennessee, and the sleep room here in Memphis, 1 beds. I've shown these on previous vlogs, but they're redoing our sleep rooms. These are where pilots get one on their turns if they'd like, free of charge. So we're hanging out here, about to change into the workout uniform. But before I do, from JFK, we pushed back and had a long taxi, Charlie 5, Alpha taxiway, Alpha loops around, and then we were told to go left on Juliet, cleared to cross runway 4 left, and departed full length on 31 left, which is what they're actually doing right now. This is live. You got an American and a JetBlue about to depart. But luckily for us, rush hour 8 a.m., surprisingly 0 traffic. I mean, we were number 2 for departure. Taxi out was the normal JFK kind of just long taxi. There's no real traffic. The flight cutbacks that the government implemented because of the government shutdown that the Department of Transportation implemented was effective because there was no backup. They might have cut a little bit too many flights. I know the day prior to that, there were a lot of flight cancellations and chaos. So we got lucky. Easy peasy. The captain and I were talking about how we haven't had that easy of a get out of JFK in a while. So that was nice. Smooth ride all the way down to Memphis, Tennessee. I can't believe it's already freaking snowing here in the States. Crazy, crazy, crazy. A little bit of flurries on departure, actually, as we were getting ready to take off. Nothing sticking, just little white specks falling from the ground. But on November 11th, which is the day of filming, too freaking early to be snowing in New York. Departed, like I said, easy flight, got direct to, I think it was Charlie West here. Yep, Charleston VOR. So we got direct to that, cut off some time, and then cleared for the arrival. We flew into Memphis via the standard arrival from the Northeast, the Blues RNAV arrival. Down the fixes we went, and then we landed runway 18 left in Memphis, captain's leg, and taxied to our gate, easy peasy. If you were listening earlier, I was supposed to go to Denver from here, have a couple hours, but I just changed into a JFK flight because JFK, the FO, called out sick or something like that, and I'd rather go to JFK. One, stay on the East Coast body clock time, which will be nice. JFK's home, so heaven forbid the flight cancels. I'm already home, I'm not stuck in Denver. Two, the captain I just flew with, really nice guy. I'd rather fly with someone I can guarantee will be enjoyable to fly with. So called scheduling and said, hey, do you mind if I go to JFK today instead of Denver? You're gonna have to cancel one of the flights, give it to a reserve. So they looked at it and they said, yeah, we'll just go to JFK. It's the same thing for me, same thing for them, same pay. I think I depart like an hour earlier, but like I said, I'd rather go to JFK than Denver. Anyway, Memphis, we're here for a couple hours, gonna change into the workout gear, go get some lunch, hopefully get a workout in. I got that special Zoom call interview. I'll have to find out from the casting producer what I can say and what I can't say. So I don't wanna leave you with a teaser, but for now, that's how we'll leave it. Let's go enjoy some Memphis. All right, we got our workout in, our lunch in, our Zoom call for the audition went fantastic. All I can tell you though, it'll be a game show that's on Fox. That's my little hint to you guys. But now it's back to work. We're flying the 767 to JFK, just where we started this morning. It'll be my leg flying with the same captain. We got 4 jump seaters, so it's a packed house. Windy as heck. Gusty winds here in Memphis. Gusty winds in JFK. Let's go see if I can do a crosswind landing. Folks, we just landed here in JFK. Gusty winds. I think the winds are 290 at 25, gust 39. So pretty decent crosswind. Landed runway 31 right, but at home, they're going to want to know, Captain, how are you going to grade Pilot Pete's landing on 31 right?
I'm going to give you an 8.
8 out of 10.
8, because
okay.
You can never be perfect.
Okay, that's fair.
But 8, it was super soft.
If there were people in the back, would they have clapped or they would have clapped?
They would have been nervous, and then they would have clapped.
Awesome, guys. JFK layover starts, and we're going to head home for a little bit. Let's do it. All right, we decided to bypass the hotel since we got in a little bit early. I checked the traffic. Only 33 minutes to get back to the apartment, so we did it. But folks, you heard it. 8 out of 10 is what the captain gave me. He laughed afterwards. It was like a 9.6 out of 10. It was gusty winds, but your boy at nighttime, I don't fly at night normally, greased it on there. Jump seaters gave me kudos. It was magnificent. But only like a 10-hour layover. Glad I could sleep in my own bed. The thing is, SJ does not know that I'm here, so we're gonna do a little surprise for her. That'll be nice.
Baby!
It's not your mom, baby.
Hi, baby.
Hi, baby.
You know, I had a feeling this was gonna be you. My baby. Hi.
Surprise.
I made dinner.
Good morning, folks. We're back where we started yesterday, the JFK ramp. Nice little layover at home. It all worked out. Got to see SJ have a home-cooked meal and met the captain here on the ramp for Groundhog's Day, which is fly back to Memphis today. Yesterday's flight, though, uneventful, but bumpy as heck. I love flying into New York. I love the controllers here. I love the complexity of the airspace and the challenges that it presents. But the wind and the gusts were something else, to say the least. But your boy handled it perfectly. A little luck involved for sure, but we'll give myself a pat on the back for handling the crosswinds. And now we're back to Memphis. Get out in the frigid cold. It's about 2 hours, 15 minute block. I'll be the pilot monitoring and we'll get going to Memphis. All right, all set up in the flight deck, ready to head to Memphis. We got 859 miles to go. I'll be pilot monitoring, captain's leg to fly us there. No snow or anything yet here in JFK. Hoping to get out of here in a little bit as they finish loading the airplane. We got a long taxi though. We're all the way up here on the north end of the airport. Long taxi down to the same runway we departed yesterday. 3-1 left, full length. And as you can tell right now, not too many airplanes departing in front of us, so it shouldn't be too bad. Our departure today is the Score 5. And the fun thing about the Score 5 is they use fixes that correlate with New York. So score as in like score a goal, score a point, that's the name of it. And then the points that we're flying, it's the Ranger transition. So we depart runway heading 314, we intercept this course to Score, then we go to the Mets, go Mets, then we go to Ranger, go Ranger. Unfortunately, I have yet to fly to Yankee. I'm a Yankees fan over a Mets fan, but maybe one day we'll get to Yankee. And then here's our flight, 2 hours and 50 minutes en route, same as yesterday. Should be pretty smooth. We're flying just north of DC, clear skies, and then they're landing the southern runways in Memphis, which will be the 1/8s based on the winds right now. So here's the runways. 1/8 left is our preferred and anticipated runway. Greetings from Memphis, Tennessee, the Mecca, as we call it. Good flight from JFK, pretty smooth, captain's leg. The only little interesting part, I guess you could say, was on our descent, landing runway 36 right. On our descent from about like 26,000 feet, they changed the airport around. So here's our arrival that we were on, flying the Blues 5 RNAV arrival. We're coming from the Ramrod, and our initial clearance was to descend via Ramrod and landing to the north, which means the runway 36s, so landing runway 36 right. Why that's important? When you put it in the FMS, in the computer in the airplane, it's going to follow all of these points, and it's going to take you to line up for this runway. However, when we were coming over just about in between Ramrod and Harriet, they changed the airport around and said, hey, the planes are now landing to the south, meaning landing the 1/8s, 1/8 left for us precisely. So that means standard terminal arrival, this Blues 5, those points in the airplane, making sure we go in the right way, are no longer going to take us all the way to Dinky. It's actually going to go Speaker, Blues, and that's where it breaks off. If you're going landing to the north, it's Blues, L-Town, Dapple. If you're landing to the south, runway 1/8s, the last fix is Copen. So we had to make sure that the FMS and the brains of the airplane were all set up. Which, since the captain had Pilot Pete as his handy-dandy co-pilot, first officer, pilot monitoring, we got in, no problem, no issues. Captain did a nice job, landed runway 18 left, taxied to our gate, and that ends the trip. It's here in Memphis. I don't live here. I got to commute back, so we got just enough time for Whole Foods lunch, quick non-negotiable workout, and oh, fun fact, I have to redo my TV audition because 2 of the guys were Australians on our team. They didn't have appropriate visas to get them over to where the competition is filmed. So I had to bring in 2 more pilots, and we have another kind of mock interview today. I'll let you know how that goes, and we'll enjoy our little bit of time here in Memphis before we head home.
A few moments later.
Well, folks, a little change of plans. Just got a call from crew scheduling, and instead of being the jump seater back to JFK, the FO called out sick. They don't tell me why, I don't ask questions, and they asked if I could operate the airplane. Little tidbit though, I said, hey, I can operate the airplane at JFK, that's where I'm going anyway, but I ain't coming back here because I don't want to work more and have to then commute tomorrow and working a lot as it is. I promised SJ I would be home. So since they were in a bind, this is the little kind of game you can play in the aviation world is I'm doing you a favor, I'm happy to do you a favor, but you then have to do a favor in return, meaning I'll operate the airplane there, but I need a deadhead home, meaning I can cancel that deadhead and my trip will end in JFK. And they agreed to it. So we'll chalk one up to a win for Pilot Pete. So instead of being the jump seater, sleeping, watching movies, doing some editing in the back there, I'll be pilot flying. Or probably not actually I'll be operating the aircraft. I don't know if I'll be PM pilot monitoring or PF pilot flying. We'll find out when we meet up with the captain here in 10 minutes. But yeah, sometimes it just works out that way. So definitely a win for me because I'm going that way anyway. I'm going to be on that airplane anyway. I'm happy to sit in the front, put the old uniform on, and get to work. So let's go fly one more leg. What a stark difference from yesterday's freezing, windy Memphis. Pre-flight in the 767 as this triple's taxiing in. We got an E-175 landing, APU starting, nice and warm. Captain's actually an Oakland-based guy, so we have a base in Oakland. He was told to come to Memphis to stand by a reserve, and he got called in to do this trip. So him and I will be operating to JFK. Rocks, paper, scissors. He won. He's flying over 2.5 hours to JFK. Let's go do it.
You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster. Oh, roller coaster.
All right, folks, we just landed at the JFK ramp. Happy to be done. Company's got me a ride to Manhattan, so we're gonna snag that and go see hi to SJ, and the week's over just like that. We love to see it. And we made it back to the NYC apartment. Good flight, Memphis to JFK. And now I have a 33-hour layover here in New York with the downtown Times Square layover hotel, which I'm not gonna be staying at. And that ends the trip because it's a back-end deadhead on Friday to get back to Memphis, which I obviously will deviate from. And I know I get asked all the time, you still get paid? Yes, you do, even if you deviate and you go somewhere further or don't use it, you still get paid for the deadhead. So that wraps up the trip. All in all, it ended up being a total footprint of 5 days, but I didn't spend one night away from home. Monday was a deadhead, JFK here. Tuesday, JFK layover, so stayed here again. And then today, Wednesday, it's a back-end deadhead to JFK. And I get paid Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and only worked really 2 days and home every single night. So total win. That's the name of the game in any walk of life. I always say is work smarter, not harder. But I just want to show you something real quick before we sign off. This is new at our company. When you land the Boeing 767 now, you actually get a landing data debrief. And it basically tells you your parameters on the landing. So this is mine from the other day. It's all kind of gibberish to me, especially to muggles that aren't pilots. Essentially, it basically tells you like when you started your flare, your max pitch rate, your radial altimeter at max pitch rate, your pitch at max pitch rate, I think. We haven't really figured out exactly what all this means. But essentially, this is when you're at risk in the 767 for hard landings and something that would be, tail strike or potentially dangerous. So all in all, this just says Pilot Pete did a fantastic job, 10 out of 10, even though this one was, I forget what this one was because it was a couple days ago. I just printed it out and remember I had it to show you guys. So hopefully we'll get some more kind of understanding on what all these numbers mean. But essentially it's just giving you like the max rate. You don't want to land too hard. You don't want to land too nose high. Basically the company just wants us to gather that information, use it for personal use to know, okay, hey, I'm flaring too early or too late, or my nose is too high up, or whatever it may be, so that you can dial in just safer and better landings. Because that's what the name of the game is just getting better in all aspects of aviation. You're always a student, you're always learning, you're always trying to get better. But as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for coming along. Any questions or comments, drop them below. Hit me up on Instagram, pilotpete.fly. Just make sure you follow me first. And in case you're in the market for a holiday Christmas gift, here you go, pilotpetefly.com, airport maps. We sell them. You can get any airport you want. We have them here in our living room. You always see them in the back of my videos. But I just did an order for someone who would personalize, got their kid like a first solo one with their name, tail number, all that cool stuff. So anything you want, if you're interested, Pilot Pete Fly, let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to make your favorite airport. And that's gonna end the trip until our next video. SJ, anything to sign off with?
Like, comment, and subscribe.
That's my girl. All right, guys. Yeah, the next trip will be a 10-day South America trip. So we'll see you on the next one. Peace.